This is Vince with Individual Point of Sale. I'd like to thank you for joining us in this short video where we're going to review the data mapping in Lightspeed Accounting, or also known as SHOGO, for Lightspeed X Series mapping to QuickBooks Desktop. We're going to utilize this company, Lewisburg, PA, which the company name in QuickBooks Desktop is actually Lightspeed X Series. The POS is Vend. SHOGO recognizes it as Vend, which is also Lightspeed Retail X Series. And we're going to, this screen is viewable under Settings and Accounting within your SHOGO account. So in the settings, accounting settings, we're going to go ahead and we're going to view details. We've already opened or created the store, which basically maps Lightspeed X Series to Lightspeed Accounting or SHOGO. And now we're going to go into that store and we're going to actually set the mappings. In our general settings, we're going to assume that the accounts have already been mapped. The Lightspeed X Series and the QuickBooks Desktop accounts have already been mapped. And we're going to go into general settings and we're going to talk mainly, the main difference with the mappings is right here in the sales posting method. This is going to affect how you map your income accounts or your sales from Lightspeed X Series over to QuickBooks Desktop. So as you can see, we'll start with journal entry. You can always click on this question mark to get more information, and it'll give you the detail of what this setting does. I just want to show you real quickly, when we have it set with the journal entry, what it's going to look like to map your sales. But before we go into the sales mapping, let's just take a look at some of the other mappings that are under general settings. So in addition to our sales posting, we have the ability to map to a class. So if you have, let's just say, multiple locations, you have classes set up in QuickBooks Desktop, which are your different locations, then you can specify a default class for this one location. You would map each location separately, and this would be the default class through the entirety of your mappings. Okay, so do you book inventory and cost of goods sold over in QuickBooks? Do you want to consolidate inventory and cost of goods sold? And this gives you an explanation of what that means, of a single cost of goods sold inventory transaction detail entry will be created instead of per department or category. So if you only have one inventory and one cost of goods sold account, you can basically tell it that you want to consolidate that all into the one account. Otherwise, if it's a separate inventory or cost of goods sold account, as you will see over here when we do the inventory cost of goods sold mapping, that you'll be able to map each category within Lightspeed X Series to an income account within QuickBooks Desktop. And then, of course, there's a couple of other settings here that you can enable or disable. And after you make those selections, we just hit the Apply Changes. And now we're ready to take a look, because we're in the general entry, our sales accounts to map. You'll always see this on all three sales methods. You'll see the ability to default all sales to one particular sales account. And then if you do that, then you only have to map the exceptions to that. So if all of your sales accounts go to the same income account with the exception of certain categories, then you would just specify those certain categories and what QuickBooks General Ledger account you want to map those to over in QuickBooks Desktop. Okay, so notice this says Vend Department, meaning Lightspeed X Series category, and QuickBooks account. Now let's just jump back to our general settings and let's just say we want to map summarize sales receipt. Now, there's some other advantages other than what we're going to take a look at here, but mainly the ability to map more detail is why we would change these settings, map more income detail. So we're just simply going to change that one setting. You can see that there's an additional cash deposit account field created, and there's also a customer account field. So when you create the sales receipt, when the sales receipt is created, SHOGO or Lightspeed Accounting creates that over in QuickBooks. This is the customer that it's going to default to in case you wanted to say POS customer or something specific, okay? So now you have a couple of extra options down here, mainly the track sales tax in QuickBooks. We're going to go ahead and apply that transaction. I do have to. The yellow means it's required. My apologies. So we're just going to say the cash deposit account is cash in bank or cash on hand, and we'll go ahead and apply that. Once we apply it, if we take a look at our sales account, now our sales, we still have the default for all sales, which now instead of mapping to a QuickBooks account, you're mapping this to an item that you have to create underneath your inventory items, service items, within QuickBooks Desktop. Same with all of your departments. The rule remains the same. You can set the majority or set the default for all of your income accounts to one, and then only change the exception if that saves you time in setting those or mapping those accounts. Okay, so we're actually, in this case, we're mapping a Lightspeed X Series category to QuickBooks items in QuickBooks Desktop. Notice that the only categories that show up here are the categories that I have already sold items from. So you don't have the ability to map the categories that you haven't sold any items from yet. As you go forward and your sales increase, and over a period of time, you will be mapping the new accounts regularly. What will happen is your data won't sync. You'll receive an email message that says your sales journal did not sync, and you'll come in here and map the appropriate category or items, and then based on when the web connector is set to sync with QuickBooks, it will pull those changes into QuickBooks. You don't have to wait till the next night when the posting and syncing are completed. So let's jump back to our general settings, and now we're going to go to an itemized sales receipt. Okay. Notice nothing else changes here, but when we hit the apply and we go into our sales settings, now notice that we are specifying every inventory item from Lightspeed X Series to a QuickBooks item, a one-on-one relationship, item per item, over in QuickBooks. This is a very detailed mapping, which is basically going to create a second set of items over in your QuickBooks. Only use this with an understanding that you're going to have to map every time you create a new item in Lightspeed X Series. You're going to have a new mapping to be performed over in QuickBooks. Now, that's not to say you can't map many items, many Lightspeed X Series items to one QuickBooks item. You can do that. And again, you have your default up above, which would say just, again, leave you to just map the exceptions. Okay? So with that understanding of those three different mappings, let's take a look at some of the other settings. We looked at, we're going to go ahead and change this back to journal, not that it's going to make much of a difference, but just so I don't forget. And we're going to take a look at, so discounts, if there's, you offer any discounts that you have set up within Lightspeed X Series, once the discount is received on a sale, you can map those specific discounts. However, line item discounts, there's no mapping. These are basically order discounts or promotions that you would be able to map. Again, if they all go to the same mapping or the same account, in this case an income account, you could, again, default all discounts to the same QuickBooks account. Other charges, when you sell gift cards, your gift cards, you can specify here what liability account you want to map your gift cards to. They will show up under other charges, as an example. Mapping your taxes, same thing. You're going to map your taxes from X series to a QuickBooks account and specify the vendor that you pay your taxes to. Okay. Payments, every one of your payment types will be mapped. Whatever payment types you create in addition to cash, credit card, gift card, you will have those payment types to map over into QuickBooks. Cash drawer, anything that affects your cash drawer balance. Payouts, cash in drawer for exchanges, and cash deposit. Cash deposit would be the money that your customers pay you in cash to be deposited into your bank account. That's the one payment type that shows up under cash drawer and not underneath payments. Okay. Lastly, we have our inventory cost of goods sold. In this case, since we are set for general journal entry, our category, or not even because we're set to general journal entry, let me take that back. It doesn't matter what our sales posting method is. Our departments will always be mapped to a cost of goods sold account and an inventory account as long as our consolidate inventory and cost of goods sold is turned off. If that's enabled, you will see underneath your inventory and cost of goods sold that basically it's going to default to this one default for all that you have set up here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and change that. Turn that back. We don't want to consolidate that. We'll go ahead and apply that. And once you have your cost of goods sold and inventory account, now the reason there's a 4 there is because cost of goods sold is 1, inventory is 2, cost of goods sold is 3, inventory is 4. So although there's only 2 line items, you're seeing a total of 4 that need to be mapped. Okay, so that's it. The preview just shows you an example of where everything's going to go based on data that it's already pulled over, if you have any data that it's pulled over. Once you have that mapping done and there's data to be synced, you will be able to activate this mapping, and that evening, once it's activated, that evening, the information will go over. Notice, if you do get an email notification that your sync did not happen for any particular reason, when you come into SHOGO or Lightspeed Accounting and you go to Settings Accounting, you will see what needs to be mapped. Your company, your store will be in yellow, and you can go to the View Details. You will know which section to select that needs mapping because you'll see these red circles. And these red circles means that you have 2 items. Those red circles relate to 2 yellow lines, which means that you have mappings to perform, in which case you're just going to edit and set the information that needs to be in there and then update. That's it. I want to thank you for joining us in this video, for taking the time to review this. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to our support department. They can be reached by phone at 570-906-8598, option 3. Leave a message. You can reach them via email by helpdesk@individualpos.com, or feel free to visit. Our Help Center can be reached through our website at ipos-us.com. Click on support and visit our Help Center link there. Look forward to future videos, and feel free to review those current videos and future videos on our YouTube channel. Thank you once again.